want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea, I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh nosh, you don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights, I want a Chippy Tea.
Morning, Cocker. How are you doing?
I'm alright, Cocker. How are you? You alright?
It's damned early here, but yeah, I'm alright. It's like 5 or something daft like that.
I don't know how any human being gets up at 5, I'll be honest. It's a bit much for me.
Look at my Instagram feed. Everybody gets up at 4 o'clock, gets themselves a tattoo, has an ice bath, and drinks an organic smoothie.
Well,
what are you doing?
You know me, I love an ice bath. I like my barefoot shoes. I'm into these silly little things, but getting up early in the morning, that's not for me. We'll write that one off. That's where I fall short.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. If you're going to buy something, you buy from people, and if you're not honest and straightforward, and it's obvious that you've got other people's best interests at heart, then basically people are going to see through you, and but you're going to lose long term. So.
Good start, you've gone. I'm like a fucking child, aren't I?
You turned into a meme.
I turned American for a bit there.
Right, hit record. I moved my microphone, mate. That's where it was. Yeah, we were talking about the honesty factor, the sort of trustworthy factor, that if you're buying something, you really want to trust the person you're buying from. Yeah, sure, you're going to get a good product. You know, I think we're pretty much backed up with the product guarantee in the UK, aren't we? You know,
a little bit, yeah.
You know, if you buy something crap, you can send it back, and you've got all your consumer rights from 1971 or whenever it is.
Yeah.
But if you buy something from a shyster, you've got no comeback. If they say, no, I told you it was a Fanny Flutter 5000, it wasn't a Fanny Flutter 4000. So, you know, what you've got is what you paid for. And if you're stuck in that sort of argument with someone who's just basically doesn't quite talk in a straight line or tell the truth, then hey up, Stephen.
He's chuffing noisy, isn't he? Usually it sort of blends it back down, but it's doing my head in today.
Then, yeah, I think we need to be able to trust where we're buying beer stuff from. And we had this discussion a little bit earlier that today's consumer's getting more clever. Not clever. Intelligent. They can see through the bullshit. The old 1970s used car salesman is a thing of the past. You don't want to buy from that guy anymore.
I wonder if people are getting cleverer, or because I think it's always been obvious. You know, you get the stereotypical used car salesman. You know they're feeding you bullshit. They're telling you any old bollocks just to get you to buy it. They're buttering you up. A lot of I remember at Silverstone once. So me and my dad walked past. There were, like at Silverstone, they have the camping grounds, and they'll have stalls. And there were a stall for, I think they call them orthopedics, like you put it in your shoes, and if you've got problems. And my dad happened to walk past, and he stopped and looked because he was having a bit of bother. And bloke like jumped on him, and it was just smarmy, buttering him up. Oh, do you want a cig? You want a cig? And I thought, oh, and you just instantly me. I'm like, put off. Instantly, I'm like, nah, mate, I'm off. No, I don't want to buy from you straight away.
No, smarmy is a good word.
Smarmy, isn't it? I want to use like slimy, but maybe smarmy. But is it an old-fashioned, or is it a generation thing? Is there an older generation that just that sales tactic is just
old-fashioned? Sort of... No, I think what an astute thing. It's a generation ago.
It is, isn't it? I would say
it's
that's
a generation. It's
Yeah.
a generation ago. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's that way of moving stuff is a generation ago,
And I
and
wonder if now there's I feel like just generally across the board, there's an appreciation of authenticity. And when I say that, I don't just mean sales tactics, marketing, like you're more likely to buy from an independent business, or you'll feel better about buying from an independent business than you would go into a big corporation. I feel like nowadays people appreciate going to those authentic little businesses, and I know if anybody who comes across as an authentic salesperson who really just tried to help you, tried to put the right product in your hand without
yeah,
feeding you that smarmy bullshit.
bullshit.
I would say in our industry. No, I won't say it actually.
Yeah, I mean, you can. They are there. The people are there, but it's time for them to move on. The next generation's coming through. I think you're right. I think it's a good observation, generation-wise. that kind of tactic, that kind of stereotypical, only driven once by a lady nun, 35 years ago, and it's been serviced every 3 hours. Then yeah, that sort of
We won't clock.
salesman's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you get your set off and bleeding door drops off. If we were to put a demographic on the print world that you see in your travels, print shop owners, are you seeing a higher percentage, more and more young start-up business owners or print shop owners, a younger generation, or are we still, the majority of them are just older blokes with the shops that have been around forever? Is there a bit of a boom in young start-ups?
There's a huge boom in people under 30, and I use the word people because it's not your stereotypical bloke. It's women, it's men, it's people under 30. Now, you think of people under 30, and me as an old guy, I'm thinking people under 30. I'm still in touch with people under 30. My kids are 30.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not in touch with them people at all. I'm miles out of them. So
Yeah.
you've got to try and work out that if 30 is the older end of these people, and they're getting into it in the 20s, and in the 20s they've got shitloads of money to spend, and they want to get the best and be the best, and other people other than you.
Well, is that what you were about to say, though? Yeah, when I started this business at 24, I was an unstoppable, motivated force. I'm going to grow. I'm going to make this business massive, massive, massive. Keep going. And actually, at the end, that attitude bit me and nearly cost me. And I learned a really hard way. But you're right. There is a motivation and an inner belief from a younger startup business owner. At least in the first 5 or 6 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's that supreme confidence and that ability to, nothing's going to stop me. Well, you need 200 grand. Okay, I'll find 200 grand. What's next? You need some premises. Well, look, all right, my premises are sorted. I've got me 200 grand. What do I do now? How do I get my press now? And it's like, maybe that's the youth thing that I don't see anymore. Because if somebody says to me, you need to go find 200 grand, I'll be like, oh shit, that's that first failure. Then I can't get past that point. But yeah, that determination at a young age, not to be stopped. I'm up in Canada. The guy's there. He's 28. And I'm like,
wow,
unstoppable at 28. Is it? And it's not ignorance. It's not the fact that I'm like that. I don't see anything else. It's no. This is my vision. This is what I'm going to do, and it's where I'm going to go.
It's not everything, though, is it? There's other ingredients to that becoming a success. So I had that tunnel vision. I did literally. I mean, I probably do to a little bit more of an extent. Maybe it's gone like this, a little bit.
The blinkers are getting wider.
A little bit, but when I first started, there was a determination. There was an ignorance to the possibility of failure. I thought anything could be outworked. I thought any challenge, any hurdle, any disadvantage could be outworked in my head. And it turns out I was wrong. I was totally wrong. But for a good few years, even in the face of adversity at first, because don't forget, when I started, I had quite a sharp, very, in my, relatively to me, successful. The first 3, maybe 4 years went like whoosh, that.
Yeah.
And then when I got to that peak, and all of a sudden I had a few setbacks, it snowballed fast. But that point, that peak, there were not, even when them setbacks started kicking in, my head was still for a while. I'll work through it. In fact, I had members of staff at the time. I had a lad called Tom. I had Jade. Tom and Jade at that time were both full time, so I had 2 full time employees. And I knew shit had hit fan, and some of it were a little bit their fault, but but anyway, I knew it shit had hit fan. But I was so pig-headed, I thought, I'm in shit a little bit here, but it's okay. I'll just keep my head down. I'm going to keep working my way and find a way and dig myself out of this hole.
I'll trade through
and
it, yeah.
I'll take the loss, I'll take the impact, I'll take the stress, and I'll absorb all the pain and crap that came along with that struggle, so that them two keep getting paid. And that's what I did, because I was so pig-headed that I thought I could physically, mentally, I thought I had the intellect and the wits about me to do that, and I was wrong. I tried my hardest. I gave it everything, and I didn't come through it. And in the end, Tom and Jade had to go. All my equipment had to go. In fact, there's a couple of shops very recently who have probably just gone through that pain, and they've gone. Yeah. And I went through all that pain, and the skin of my teeth, I managed to keep what little bit of equipment I needed to print, screen print, and I started and rebuilt and got through it eventually.
Yeah.
But like I say, that mentality, but it was an untouchable, maybe a youthful ignorance, which I won't categorically write off as negative at all. Probably very positive, powerful thing to have.
Yeah, we learn from everything, don't we, really?
Yeah. I mean, if you was to ask me, would I backtrack and do it different? Fucking right I would. That's called learning, stupid.
Yeah.
No regrets my ass. What are you perfect?
Hindsight's a wonderful tool. Yeah, we all love hindsight, yeah.
Yeah, so I think you're right. So if you're a salesman and you're listening, just be honest, and people will appreciate it more. You probably sell more.
Dead straight, yeah.
Just be dead straight.
From that little opening segment.
Better introduce ourselves, haven't we? Here we go.
Morning, buddy. How we doing? It's cracker sparrows here. It's still dark.
Cracker sparrows.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
Cracker sparrows.
I say it's lovely. It's pissing it down, but it's daylight, you know.
You've had some rain.
You're drinking Gatorade.
I am, mate. Yeah.
Gatorade to age your gators. Got to age those gators, haven't you?
Gatorade.
I've never tried that.
It's all right. It's still orange juice with isotonics and stuff in it. Isotonic?
I'm having
all that crap.
Aussie lemonade.
I can't.
Juice.
Monster, I can't.
I wish I didn't, but I keep doing it.
No, I don't go down that road at all. But I'm obviously using calories a lot, so. But my training's coming down, so we're doing all right.
Tapering down, you're on the recovery stages for the big peak.
It's getting
closer.
closer.
The storm.
It's definitely getting closer. Yeah,
how many weeks away?
Ooh. 3.
I bet you could crush a walnut.
Less than 3, yeah.
That's just conjured an image I didn't need. Less than 3 a week, chuff me.
Aye, lad, aye.
So where are you then? You must be close to the final destination.
I am in Indianapolis. Is the state? No, it's the city. Right. Indiana is the state.
Right. So is this Mercops area?
No, that's Florida. That is in
Florida.
2 weeks' time.
2 weeks' time. So you're visiting a shop right now?
The air conditioning's just come on. I don't think you can hear it or not.
Yeah, but it'll edit it out.
There's just white noise in the background.
Oh, it's delivery man. Good timing. I need to deactivate it. I'd be so much happier in life without any social media whatsoever. But it's just a necessary evil, isn't it?
It's a proper conundrum for me. I think without social media, I don't think I'd have a job. That's my
Here's
issue.
a question. Let me give you, like, from this angle. Could a business survive using old-fashioned marketing techniques, no social media, now, in this day and age?
Yes. 2 weeks ago. Remember where I was 2 weeks ago?
Nope. I know somewhere in America.
Boston. I was in
Boston.
Cambridge in Boston.
Right, that's right.
So this guy survives completely and utterly without social media or online trading. He goes to record fairs. He goes to markets. He goes to and he employs students to sort his stuff, and he survives completely and utterly without social media, and does well enough to buy an auto and a spider and all that shit. Now, if me and you talk cryptically for a while, do you remember how you first started and got very successful?
I know. We won't use the word, but I know exactly what you mean.
That's his business now. And he understands that if he does go social and he does go online, he pops his head above the parapet.
That's exactly right, yeah.
And he gets cut off.
Yeah.
So
if you go from gig to gig, fair to fair, nobody's monitoring it.
Not if you don't do anything online. Because the people that used to walk around the fairs, they don't do that anymore. They run an algorithm and a program will give her keywords. Then they go walk around the fair looking for you.
Yeah.
So,
if you identify as your target, they might try to catch you out. But if you stay out of sight, out of mind, whatever that means.
Yeah, so I think it can work. Can you grow it bigger and better and expand it and go, I won't use the word legit, but you know what I mean, mainstream, then no, probably not. I think it's such an important tool. I suppose, I mean, we call it social media, but it's media. You know, it's the same as TV or radio, really.
Yeah. Well, if arguably more effective. I've had a couple of times, like local radio stations, Humberside Radio, knock on my door and come in and try to give me a sales pitch, and I'm just like, it'll do now. It'll do literally now. You want hundreds of pounds off me for this fancy vocalised audio advert that you're going to make for me. It'll literally do now for me. It won't work.
So I was in a town up in North America, and I'm sat in the bar. I checked into a hotel the day before. I'm sat in a bar having me alcohol-free orange juice and me vegan burger. And,
I'm sure. I believe you.
And somebody says, "Oh, that's a strange accent. Where are you from?" From England. What are you doing here? I've come to help with the screen print. Oh, who have you come to help? And I named the company. Oh, we know them.
Yeah.
You do? And I'm thinking, this company does mainly work for contract and agencies. So how do you know them? Oh, they're always advertising on the radio.
Strange.
A big firm printing for agencies and contract work, advertising on the radio. That's a very strange route to take. So, and I said,
dynamic.
I've got to be honest with you. I'm surprised to hear that this company has advertised on radio. I wouldn't have thought that was their ideal customer. She went, customer? No. They're on the radio every 2 minutes advertising for staff.
Oh, right. Well, that's not a good sign, is it?
Well, it meant that they were so busy they can't get staff. So the advertisement then was, come work for us, we offer you this package, and if you stay 10 minutes, we'll give you $3,000 and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, radio advertising, it does work, but it's not just for selling you goods. Sometimes it's for making people aware that you're there or you need something.
God, I'm so narrow-minded. So bloody short-sighted, me.
Right then, Danny.
Gosh.
So we've had a little bit of a chat. Let's do the welcome tour, shall we?
Obligatory. I thought you were going for a season 2. Let's just not do that. I thought you were having a bit of a mix-up at first.
No,
Yeah,
we are in season 2. We've had a end of year break. We've stepped away from the microphone for a week. We're back now. This is welcome to the Chippy Tea podcast. The Chippy Tea podcast is your chance to catch up with me, Tony P, and
Danny D, Flipping Sweet Pinko. All best.
Now everything's all right with the world. Some things have been put straight now. Yeah.
Look at all the blood rushing out of my face. I feel much better about myself.
So you can join us as we catch up with a weekly video call or regular video call, and to discuss the things that that have been thrown at us this week. Some things have been thrown at us at high velocity and we've dodged them. Some have been smelly, stinky and shitty and a bit straight in the face. So we
I prompted him something to him.
Okay. So then that sort of like sums up what we do. You're welcome to join us on the journey. We would love to hear from you on your views. But in the meantime, I'm going to throw the microphone clear up and to, with or without notes, because we can tell from his side-eye glance whether it looks to the left or to the right. It's completely without notes. This time. It's completely without notes. We're going to throw it up to you. What's they been doing, Danny? What's been on your mind?
Oh, it
Tell Uncle
so
Tony.
Well this episode, wasn't it? I'll show you what's been on press recently. I'll show you what's been on press yesterday, and I'll show you what I'm doing right now. Shall I?
Get my old man viewers on.
Right.
We love this bit because we get to criticise whether you've cleaned up or not.
That area there is doing my chuffing head in right now. There's some shelves to go up here, and I just, for the life of me, can't get time to do it, but it's really bugging me now. I feel like I'd sooner get behind a little bit just to build some shelves. Oh, I'm tripping up on my own words. Right then, this was yesterday's print.
Wow.
Stonewash t-shirts. That's the back.
Proper
Don't
busy.
ask me what that says. Some are Welsh, I think.
Senel, Camrig, Tanadol, Amatefi. Easy.
Hey, that sounded genuinely like you knew what you was saying. You had the proper accent and everything.
It was fine.
And
There's just no vowels in it. You're a party.
You're a party. I haven't got a clue what that is. It could be something dead sordid.
Is that base and top colour, or is that just two top colours?
So white V2. Yeah, I won't lie to you. Thin flash print white. V2, and then obviously top colour plastisol.
So print flash print. This base approach. Seems like somebody's climbing through a window here.
It does, doesn't it?
It's window, it's not door. I'm on second floor, so I should be all right. Print flash white on Aquaflex. I had this discussion with someone as well, and not long ago. So a plastisol white. Plastisol is designed one hit, round once, opaque underbase with a top colour.
Yeah.
And if it's... I can't think of any situation where one hit or one stroke of white is good enough to go out the door.
No.
So therefore it has to be two. And we've accepted that base white, flash, iron, stampinator, roller, whatever, to make it smooth. Top colours and then a top white to bring out the highlights, to make the solid areas good.
Yeah.
We've completely accepted it. We go to Aquaflex V2, and I think other HSA whites are available. But when we go to HSA white, water-based, it's not actually good enough. The opacity's not there. Right? As much as we want to play with it, as much as we want to try and improve our techniques with angle, speed, pressure, build upon stencil, all this crap, it's just not. It's about 80% opacity of plastisol white.
Yeah, probably. Something like that.
It's good enough if there's no big open areas. It's good enough. It's okay. But as soon as you get big open areas, we just want that boost. And that
Yeah.
boost comes from white flash white. And I was wondering to myself when I had this discussion with another water-based printer who does what you do, HSA underneath, plastisol on top.
Yeah.
Fantastic results, loves the results. I'm wondering if the configuration of presses that we buy is going to change.
I think so. I think we're seeing it already.
Yeah, so what we've got is, you buy a 6-colour press here, and you know that you can do a 5-colour print, but you're going to pull 7 squeegees.
Yeah.
So you're going to pull base white, flash, and then your top 5 colours.
Yeah.
So you've done 7, but you've only got 6-colour press. And
Yeah.
people like yourself are proving the point of concept that this is the quality we want. This softness, this opacity, this feel, that's what we want.
Yeah.
So how do I achieve it? And I've told you before, when I go working abroad, 18-colour press to print a single-colour job.
That's
Print
crazy.
flash cool, print flash cool, print flash cool. 1 white's not enough, 2 white's not enough, 3 white's not enough, 4 whites, yeah, that's about right. For retail, that I'm going to charge $80 for. That's what I want. And if I have to buy a bigger press and say I've got an 18-colour press, but I can only ever print 6 colours, then so be it. So therefore, when we go back to having a look at press configuration, let's say a 10-colour press, we would go print, flash, optional cool, just an empty station, print, flash, print. And that's my normal configuration to do every day. Let's call it a rock and roll job. A rock and roll merch job.
Bread and butter.
Yeah, bread and butter rock and roll merch job. It's round once. It's bright enough to look okay from that magic 6 foot 2 metre distance. I use so many different methods of measuring and money, and I've heard myself say dollars twice already, but it means that configuration that we've got for this standard T-shirt, which has been set in stone for about 30 years, that's been the standard. I think we're going to see it change, because you know the difference between 1 base and 2 bases.
Yeah.
Somebody's just told somebody. Quite often, people will send me artwork or visuals or mock-ups and say, "Look, Tony, you said I could ask you anything. How would you run this?" And if they're a water-based printer, for instance, while we're talking, it's just flashed up on my phone. The guy wants an answer. And it's basically orange and white on a black shirt, and he's all water-based, he's all HSA. And he's like, have I done the art right? Are these gutters and traps and chokes, are these right? And I looked at it and went, yeah, 20 years ago. And yes, how I'd print it now. But if I gave this job to you, because you're so familiar with the HSA, you wouldn't do the top white. No. You would go 2 bases.
In some cases I would.
This is a big open area, massive open area of orange, and with white text knocked out the middle of it.
Yeah, that would be my...
So you'd go 2 bases and orange.
Yeah.
And I know if I tell him to do it like that, he'll get 0 problems. All right, it might get a bit of heat in the second white.
Yeah, do you know what? You will get problems. There are problems you have to overcome, but I've overcome it and I've sussed it out, and I've been doing it about long enough now. I don't think about it. Yeah. But I've had people who've listened to me and then said, "Oh, we gave this a try," and then they ran into pinholing, various problems that you wouldn't typically get. But there's a solution to it. Typically it involves flash, adjusting your flash or whatever. Yeah. But once you get your head around those hiccups, but that's the same with anything. If you run discharge, if you run plastisol, if you run any type of new ink, you might go from one plastisol to another. It'll present slightly different set of
issues. Yeah. Parameters.
Parameters that you have to adjust to. Yeah. That's a screen bit, isn't it? But
it is, yeah. I think it is screen printing. It does change.
What I'm doing, which is traditionally completely wrong. I'm putting down 3 layers of ink. Base, another base, and an ink on top. Now, if you're doing that plastisol, no, that's totally bad. You're asking for curing problems, and you shouldn't be doing that. Because you're building up too thick a stencil. You can cure it, but you're asking for trouble, in my opinion. And it's just going to be a thick, horrible print, isn't it?
So it's going to feel bad. It's going to look okay from a distance. It's going to feel bad, and it might not be cured. Yeah.
Yeah. So on a plastisol, I would say personally that's an avoidable. I won't even say it's avoidable. I say it's like a big red cross.
Yeah.
On Aquaflex V2, and I haven't tried any other HSA to use as another example, but I know that I can print V2 white base, another white on top, and then I can put a colour on top, and it'll cure absolutely fine. It'll feel no softer. Like physically to the touch, you won't be able to tell the difference between that and if I'd a print white colour highlight. Not only 2 layers. Physically, I can't really see the difference because there are occasions where the artwork forces me. It's not my go-to. I don't always go base, print fast, print top goes on top. It's not my standard.
Yeah.
Maybe 50-50. Because there are some jobs where I might even run a plastisol highlight, Aquaflex base, colours, plastisol highlight, particular sim process stuff like that. Anything that's super half toned, that might be my standard go-to. But I know I can get away with it, and I know there's no physical difference.
It's only you can see any difference.
Yeah. It's so slight that you can't feel the extra weight really.
Yeah.
IMO.
In my opinion, yeah. No, I think you're right. And because of that, just on a side note, something you said there, very quickly, name me 3 other water-based white brands.
Virus and Wilflex Aquarius.
All right, you are aware of them then. Okay.
You like that?
I didn't think. I just thought that. I thought that it was actually. Yeah, I'm impressed. Yeah, I mean, there's probably another 2, but yeah, they're
I can't
probably
think of any
not
others. If you'd have said 5, I'd have been fucked.
Got some Matsui. Is one.
Matsui, that's right. We don't really get it here though, do we, Matsui?
CHT's another, and Minerva's another.
There was one actually I used to get, and it had this really strong smell of ammonia, and I used to get it from a company called GK Marketing.
Oh, GK Jeff Knight Marketing, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what ink it was, but it was the very first water base I tried, and it had a really strong ammonia smell, and it was paste.
It.
Yeah, I'm not sure
I think it was Minerva, and I think he rebranded it.
Right. Yeah, it stunk of ammonia. Super strong. But yeah,
so yeah, I think
that's the only ones I know.
I think that just that fact that you found out that's the best way. I would say 10% of the people I speak to have found this as the best way, with the caveat of it's a bit of a sharp learning circle.
That's right.
Learning circle? The fuck's a learning circle?
Curve.
Learning curve. It's
all the way back around.
Yeah, it's a sharp learning curve in that. All right, okay. I'll just scrape out my plastisol, wash it out with some thinners, throw some water-based in, and off I go. No, it doesn't quite work like that. It's close, no. And I do tell people the first thing to try with water-based is white. Just stick to white. Try a white. Just try replacing the white and see how you go. And it's a slightly different way of printing, but it's still different. You've got to learn some new techniques. But I think you've proved, and other people like you, that it's the payback's worth it. You know, the payoffs, it's actually worth it. It works.
Yeah. But I do think there's a little bit of preference involved. I wouldn't say that it's the right option for everybody. Like, you just use the word, it's the best option. It's the best option for me. It's the best option for 10% of the other shops you've come across. If you're listening and you don't use that method, it might be a good option for you too. but then
you're not a
discharge
tree hugger.
You know?
You're not a tree hugger. You're not doing it to save
No.
Stephen the Seagull. You're doing it because it gives you retail-like results.
Yeah, quality comes first in my eye. For me, my preference is quality. I don't mind the eco stuff. Like I like to use what phrase do I use? Eco-conscious, not eco-friendly.
Or
Eco-conscious,
aware,
or eco-aware. As eco-friendly as possible, but not at the cost of
the quality.
Printability for me and quality. Quality, printability, eco-credentials, in that order.
Yeah, I often say about
other shops might do it opposite way around.
I always use the screen wash analogy. You know, the best screen wash you can possibly use for cleaning out plastisol or PVC-based inks is cellulose thinners.
Yeah, strong stuff.
It is absolutely awesome, but it is the worst thing for the people, the environment, and everything in between. And then, so as we make it better for the environment, we make it worse in doing the actual job it was designed to do, until we get down to the soya beans juice. And, you know, somebody will come and, well, this is the sperm from the soybean, and if you use this, nobody will get hurt. Yes, but it doesn't clean the fucking screens. Yes, but nobody gets hurt if it doesn't do the job it's supposed to do. So I think it's finding that balance between, like you say, eco-conscious, which water-based allegedly is. There's still production techniques. There's still production techniques that are debatable. There's still some things in the ink that aren't nice, but any chemical, there are things in there that aren't nice, and it's better than the alternative, which is full of PVCs. But as soon as the guys realise that they can take the PVCs out and everything's good, then now why should I use it? Now it's harder to use. But you've taken the choice because of the end result. The end result feels like something I would buy, I would wear, and it looks like something I would buy and I would wear, and that's the best result. And so that's your determination, if you like, to get through that pain barrier of why is it pinoli? Why is it drying in? Why does it feel crusty? Why does it not register? Why have I had to throw that 50 quid's worth of ink away? All those things that you've been through and it's been worth it because the end result is something you would buy and you don't mind the feel of it. You know, this is one of your shirts. This still feels lovely and soft after all those washes. It hasn't cracked. Yeah. And that's the sort of retail feel that we want.
Yeah.
Feel and hand is really important in screen print.
I think so.
Yesterday I spent the day colour profiling some DTF prints. Over here, the DTF is going crazy. Same as in England, same as in Europe. Multiple different manufacturers have multiple different machines, all based in one country, all originating from one country, usually. But the ink, the film, and the powder will affect how the feel is. And we're evaluating the colour with this colour professional. Okay, so he's in the printing industry, but not particularly textiles. And he's there to evaluate and create colour profiles that match Pantones and match previous DTG prints from a brother. And he's very, very knowledgeable in colour spaces and gamuts and you know, proper geeky out on colour.
Yeah.
But one thing he's never thought of, and he mentioned it, he says, you know, all you guys, when you come to look at a print, the first thing you do is touch it.
Touch it. Yeah.
We said, well, yeah, it's the feel, the hand. But I'm here to evaluate the colour. And I've got my machine. He's got a little spectrophotometer where he's got, you know, he's looking at the colour and he's looking at the colour of this and it pops up a chart and he says, right, that's it, perfect match. Yeah, it is a perfect match, but it feels a bit waxy. I'm dealing in absolute zeros and ones and you've got, it feels a bit waxy. I don't know what to do with that. Do you want waxy? Well, no, of course we don't want waxy. We want it to feel soft. Soft like what? We'll go and bring a plastisol print out. And do you know what? In reality, plastisol doesn't feel soft. And water-based has a feel. The only ink that doesn't have a feel would be discharge or water-based on white.
Yeah, that. Delivery man, 2 minutes. Hey up there!
Sorry,
Just bad timing.
Got tagged in an Instagram story, but you've already seen it an hour ago.
Black Dog.
Black Dog in Australia, yeah.
I've been chatting with him quite a bit recently. He's a bloody nice bloke, him.
Yeah.
Real good.
That's not your Sam guy, is it?
No, I don't actually know his first name, but Sam's ministry, innit, and Black Dog's, I don't know his name. Just Black Dog. Maybe that's his actual name by birth certificate.
Mr. Black Dog to you.
Yeah. That's Mr. Black Dog. I think it's so important, the feel of a print. But I also think there's a preference involved as well, because we're talking about. I've heard you say, and I strongly disagree, that discharge is the best possible print finish.
Yeah.
And my preference isn't that. My preference is what you're wearing. I think that's the best possible print finish. So there's obviously an element of...
If I go like that, right, okay, I can actually feel this print.
I know.
Yeah,
and
it has a waxy feel to it. It's not...
Yeah.
It doesn't stop me dead in my tracks, and it does allow for the garment to be free moving.
Breathable, lightweight.
There is one down from
Feel
this, and that is discharge. So
yeah, that's right. Where it's
a
zero.
discharge colour would flow completely and allow the garment to bend, and it's not as shiny. It's definitely a matte finish.
Yeah,
we can actually get almost a shiny eggshell finish with.
That's a good way to use it. Yeah,
with HSA.
Yeah,
but it does have a feel. It's a fully acceptable soft fashion feel, but it is there. Yeah. And I think with a discharge, you won't feel it at all.
No, that's totally right. But this is what I'm saying. My preference is that what you're wearing. Like
I'm just saying that you're wrong. That's all. Just accept it, okay?
Never. But all these discharge printers would argue on your side. Discharge printers would say that. They probably...
I don't find discharge anymore. I think the shirts have changed so much. Discharge is too much of a gamble now. So unless you're...
yeah, there is that,
unless you're doing 100% cotton black T-shirts for rock and roll bands, which you pretty much know, if the shade changes, they're so stoned they won't fucking care.
Yeah,
the people that buy them, after 10 minutes they're covered in all sorts of bodily fluids. So that I'm not interested. Does it look like dripping blood and gravestones? Yeah, I'll buy it.
That'll do.
Discharge for me.
I did a job the other day, and it was very tricky. Me and John nearly turned it away, but we found a way to make it work. And it involved, originally it was going to be V2 base white, print flash print, with 5 top colours. And it was on black shirts, so we didn't even have a black. The last screen was one of the colours. I couldn't even use a black to key it all in. So it was tricky. It was really tricky. And because of that, I decided to try discharge white. So the exact same process I normally do, but replace the V2 with discharge white. And then I don't have to print it once. Yeah. So it was limiting any chance of registration issues, any sort of base peaking, Because if you print a base white and then put another layer of ink on top, with V2 it's not so bad. With plastisol, 100% guaranteed, you'll see that creeping, You start to get that ever so fractional bit of spread. So I thought, I don't want to chance it. I don't want to take that risk because I can't key it in. I can't use a black to hide it, So I tried discharge. And one of the colours was a skin tone, and it came out at dryer. The skin tone plastisol turned to bright yellow. I say bright yellow, like a yellow.
Had a yellow cast to it.
It had a yellow shade to it. Yeah, it looks like we've got jaundice. It was very weird. And
you've either been out in sun or you've got jaundice with skin tones.
That's right. And so I scoped it all out, put my V2 back in, and it was perfect. So yeah, I think colour science, colour accuracy is an issue with discharge, and plenty of people make it work and get it right. But
It's not the ink.
it's just a bit trickier, maybe.
It's the shirt. The shirt changes.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
With this industry, the one thing that changes every time we print is the substrate. We never print on the same thing because that's the whole point, printing on different things. And so guaranteeing that consistency of substrate is difficult. And we can do certain things like ironing it before we print it, or pressing it before we print it, or putting it through the dryer before we print it, so we're getting some sort of uniform. But if it leaves the dye house factory at different shade levels and strength levels, depending on which factory it came out of, and then they all go into that one box, we're screwed.
Yeah.
We're absolutely screwed.
You could discharge 100 shirts, same brand, same garment, same colour, but there can be a difference just because the amount of material, where it's come from or whatever, can vary, and you can't control that.
Yeah.
But like you say, there is an industry, there is a niche. It's not even a niche; it's quite big. It's quite big. There is a sector, and there's plenty of printers that listen and mates that we've got that we talk to who serve those sectors. And like you say, it's preferred. That is the preferred feel.
Yeah.
They love that look. Distressed band shirts, etc., etc. That's like perfect to them.
Yeah.
So like I say,
bodily fluids,
it's a preference.
When
you throw up down your top, it don't matter, does it?
I once did a job for students, and it was like a pig, but it was reverse outlines. So it's just big, solid yellow pig. The outlines were gaps in the art, so where the black shirt came through. And it really didn't look that good. So I took it upon myself to get a very, very fine point Sharpie and go through some of these lines.
Trace it?
Because it was too late. The shirts were printed and it spread. And I spent a good couple of hours, and the boss came to me and said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, shit, I've got you. I'm just highlighting these a little bit that just look a little bit crazy. Don't waste your time." So these shirts will get put on, and within 10 minutes we'll be covered in vomit. They'll have cider and black down them. They'll have all sorts of bodily fluids that you don't even want to know. It says that you're wasting your time. I understand what you're trying to do, but you're chasing that perfection that the end user just is not going to appreciate. Just send them out. They're good. Okay.
Yeah. So
sometimes we've got to embrace the phrase that only fucking t-shirts nobody
I know
died.
you do. You do. That's right. I'm going to have to put that on my wall sometimes because
they're only fucking t-shirts
crazy,
nobody died. I very nearly rang you this week, by the way, for help and advice.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What was your problem?
You went, right. So the first 2 days...
because you didn't. I'm insulted. Because you obviously rang someone else.
No. I actually I bludged my way through it. This week, you haven't asked me where I am, but I'll tell you anyway. You know what I mean? It's season 2. We're breaking all conformities, aren't we?
That's why.
This week I'm at 2 or 3 different print shops.
Told me.
That was before we weren't recording.
No, yeah, it's true. Sorry, forgot about that.
So I'm in Indiana, the birthplace of Indianapolis, the 500. Last time I was here, I did go look round the track with Big Dave.
Yeah.
Shout out to Big Dave. The first shop we went to is a shop I've been trying to work with remotely a little bit and help.
All right.
Because they have artwork issues. And the artwork issues they have are the trap lines, the gutters, the wells, as someone called them. And I quite liked well. I've never heard it before, but these guys called it a well for the ink to drop into.
It does kind of make sense, really.
It does, yeah. I mean, I like the gutter, but I think something about the way that a Yorkshireman says gutter over here makes people go, "What did he just call me?" So it's like water. We can't say water correctly either. Bottle of water.
There's no R in it.
Bottle of water. There's a D in there.
Water.
So Just 17 Americans are trying to break down my door saying stop taking the
I
piss.
thought I heard something over here.
So the problem they've had is, how do we do this? How do we get this gutter? Now, I've been doing it for years, and I like it, and for me it's normal and perfect, and it keeps a nice clean print. But it's not really the secret, but it's part of the recipe of getting a good 10 colour wet on wet print, which people say, you can't do that. Well, you can. Is it easy? No, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But it's possible. I've run thousands, millions, hundreds of thousands of T-shirts of base flash 8 top colours with, good mesh selection, blade selection, colour order selection, pressure angled squeegee.
Yeah.
All those things to be able to run it no problem. But it starts with artwork as well. The artwork's got to be good. I've got to have these cutaways, these drops for the ink to run along the surface and then drop down to the garment, and run along the surface the other way and drop down to the garment.
Yeah.
And part of that artwork is having those two colours meet perfectly, with the gap being half and half underneath.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. I have no idea what that was. It only made sense in my head.
I did get it. If you're on Spotify, you've not got a clue what's going on, but I sort of got that.
No idea. So they'd asked me, and I'd explained this perfectly what I thought. And they'd asked me to, look, when you come in, can you show us? Because we're just not getting it at all.
Yeah.
So I walk into the art department, and the lady over here has got 20 years experience in this firm. They're lifers.
Yeah.
The lady over here is 16 years, and the gentleman over here is 18 years. These guys are experienced in, let's call it, unicorns, stars, glitter, trophies, ribbons.
So it's the print for dance clubs then. Basically.
There you go. I didn't even have to go there, did I? Stock items of a dance is all those things, and they're very good. They're very organised. They've got lots of depth of artwork to choose from. Online, it's really easy to build your own unicorns, stars, glitter, ribbons, trophies. But they can't quite get this trap thing. I said, okay, well, I'll come in. Let's see. Half an hour, we'll have this nailed. Don't worry. You've got lots of experience. You know what you're doing. And then they dropped the bombshell. Well, so when we opened Corel Draw...
So that's why you nearly ran me. I get you.
There are some things I can't. And in the end, I'm like, have you all got Illustrator on your computers? Yeah. Right.
Start using that.
Control C, open Illustrator, Control V, trim, merge, Control C, Control V, done. That's it. That gets rid of all those shitty outlines in the background that, let's face it, shouldn't be there. But I know why they're there, because you're taking elements from other places, building the design, making it look pretty, and off it goes. But they were using spread. Do you know what spread is?
Right.
So spread, you know what you just said about your black tying everything in at the end?
Yeah.
Where it hides misregistration. It sits over the top.
Overlapping.
So we've got our little base white under here.
Yeah.
But we would have a spread on top.
Right.
So the spread would sit half on the red, half on the blue, and hide everything.
Right.
Which is great.
But this is where you start
paper
introducing bleed. I guess you're going to get bleed edges that are not super crisp.
Yeah, shitty edges. Yeah, because we're now, this works when we're printing flat stock, which is paper. When we're printing flat stock, and we're only ever printing dry. We never print wet on flat stock. We print a colour down the dryer, print a colour down the dryer, print a colour down the dryer, print a colour down the dryer.
Yeah.
So every time we're printing, it's great that we can add this extra 0.5 mil bleed, and it hides any misregistration.
Yeah.
And one of the big problems I find is people who are used to doing that for 20 years, and then I make them print on a soft, squishy, fluffy T-shirt. All of a sudden, they try and give the same techniques to this soft, fluffy, movable, heat-resistant T-shirt. and it just doesn't work. So after some real soul searching, some proper Googling on what Corel, it's called Corel over here.
Corel.
I can't
Draw.
do it. I can't do it. It's Corel.
It's chuffing Coral Draw. Get it
It's
in your
Coral
thick
Draw.
schools.
So
Speak range. What's up with it?
actually, that might be my next poll on my Instagram. Coral Draw or Instagram or Illustrator. I want to know who's still using
Illustrator will win hands down, but I come from my first experience
signage.
So it's just it was just the natural progression. It's what I knew. That's all. I mean, I'm a Photoshop, and I use Photoshop and I use CorelDRAW. And actually, sometimes I use Inkscape because it's got a really good tracing feature. Just to throw that into the mix. Or it used to be called GIMP, but now we called it. I feel like
it used to be called GIMP.
Correct. It did, yeah. I don't think that's politically correct anymore. So
no, I don't. I don't think. I don't think.
Well, I've just got us thumbnail. Thank you for that. Episode of a title: What a Gimp.
It's my next screen name.
Ball gagging.
So yeah, I mean,
took a turn.
Select same colour threw me completely. Couldn't find in Corel Draw.
All right.
I've been here too long.
Control and F, and then you can pick pick solid.
That's find and replace. So I know where to get find and replace. But then inside find and replace, there wasn't an option for select same colour.
There is.
I couldn't find it.
It's one at tabs. I think it's the second tab along, and then you can pick your eyedropper, and then you can literally click, and then it'll select all of the elements that are that colour.
I struggled a little bit, and the Pathfinder in Illustrator. Those sort of 8 boxes in Pathfinder in Illustrator, they are the most powerful tool in Illustrator for me.
Yeah, and you know what? I want not to use them.
And I sometimes forget because I don't use it every day, and sometimes I go minus front. Oh shit! No, it's minus back. But it basically, when you have lots of elements laid on top of each other, when we print them, it doesn't matter because that's what we want to see.
No.
But when we try and make a base, I don't want trap lines where they shouldn't be. So I have to unify or weld, to use your words.
That's right. Yeah,
I have to weld them together.
If somebody sent you a piece of vector artwork, more often than
drawn
not,
on Canva.
Elements all of it shop. Yeah, and you might just have a simple circular design, but for some reason they've made it in pizza cuttings, and it all overlaps, and then there's like bits of distress behind it at different like levels of layers, and it can be a right headache. You basically want to turn that into a flat image, and then you want each colour as its layer.
Yeah, and that's the difficult bit inside Corel.
So does that? So does that not lend to the argument to save yourself some right headache to take your vector image that you've been provided, export it sized that you need as a bitmap, and then just separate it in Photoshop? Because then you can go to your colour channels.
So I don't.
And I know somebody who would argue that.
I'm not sure I know how to do it. Photoshop is to me what Illustrator is to you. I can open Photoshop and I can do some bits and pieces with a clone tool and some saturation and change some things, but I really don't live in that environment. And when we get talking to John and you, and you're talking about channels and you're talking about this, and I can manipulate stuff. I absolutely can't create stuff, and I absolutely can't work perfectly in tracing something. I presume flat bitmap, select colour range, create channel from selection would be the only ham-fisted way I could do it.
Well, there's also your layers tab where you can go to not layers, channels, and then you can split them channels, or you can create a new channel. So you can select, like you say, you can select coloration. There's different ways of doing it, but I mean, there is a software out there that will do that for you. Not accurate.
Separation Studio.
I'm sure there's more than one.
Separation Studio is quite good. I've got a couple of people. Somebody's just asked me, Separation Studio kick this today. Where I'm going today. So where I'm going today, someone's given me a rainbow blend.
Oh, God.
Thanks.
Rainbow
blend.
For you, Tony?
They sent me. Oh, can I do this? Can I do this? I'm not sure. You've got to be careful what you show, haven't you?
You have, yeah. Don't want the Conor McGregor situation again, do you?
No. Oh, check you out. What a memory.
That was episode 3.
Well, I bet it's still open in my Illustrator because I was having a look at it. No, it's open in my Photoshop because that's the only way I could do it, and it's in channels. Okay, so bear with me. Let's see if I can. See if I can share my screen because I know you like a shared screen now and again, don't you? Share.
Yeah.
Screen.
Nice little presentation.
Window.
Make sure you don't click on
one. Hang on, bear with me. You've got your granddad with remote control at the minute. Can you see it?
Can
you see it? So I've got the rainbow, but I'm thinking more about the title.
Text.
I have got channels.
Yeah.
But we're also going to do it on a navy shirt.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
What ink?
Plastisol. But also, I was more intrigued with the title of the job.
Oh, shit, yeah, I've just clicked. There's a claim going in there, isn't there?
I'm like, that can't be right when I saw a title come through. That can't be right. So,
I've got a show and tell actually that relates to said title. It's totally off topic, so if you don't know if you want me to hold on until we've
absolutely not. No, you jump in. I'm just filling.
We like a tangent, don't we?
Yeah, we love a tangent. It's been a while since we went off on one. I did get ribbed a little bit for teasing you over New York, by the way.
You did?
I did, yeah.
What was the tease? Oh, yeah,
basically, I'm a cruel bastard for dragging you along. Old York, New York.
Just a bit daft.
I think you timed it up perfectly, like a cat playing with a mouse, for fuck's sake.
Now then. Oh, God, isn't it? Dogos. You know Dogos?
Dogos,
screen print shop.
Yeah,
he's a nice bloke. He was messaging me, and he's working his way through the back catalogue of episodes, and he got to the episode where I suggested the idea of when you finish your print run, just run a couple of transfers, and then you can. And then if you have any issues, and he will listen because he lives in basically he's the lord of somewhere down south. He lives in a manor house. He's got a massive acreage of land. And he was riding his lawnmower. And he listens to us. Anyway, he said he got to that bit. And I'm sort of explaining this and you go, think about it. And you sit back with this smug look. Think about it. And he said, he at the time as I was explaining, he said, oh, that's a really good idea. And then he said, the penny clicked when it clicked with me. Oh shit, it'll be backwards. At the exact same time, he said he just absolutely pissed himself laughing. He had to stop cutting grass on his multi-million-pound lawnmower for his mansion. Anyway, yeah. So I thought that was a nice story. That made me laugh. Nice that people listen. And it's nice that people work their way through back catalogue. Yeah.
A friend of mine's working his way through back catalogue as well. He's on like episode 2. I'm like, oh, well, skip number 3 and turn your video off after 8.
I delete number 3. Yeah. Right, so it begrudges me, but I'm going to have to give Mr. Roper a shout out because I found a fantastic little product on Screen Print World. Citrus. Well, it's raw ink cleaner. Now, powerful high performance cleaner, removes ink easily, pleasant citrus aroma. I actually didn't realise this was classed as an ink remover. I use this for cleaning my press, and it is unreal. This stuff will get your press. I use this with a magic sponge, and my press is like new. Unbelievable. You just give it a quick rub it down with sponge, and all it is it's a citrus aerosol cleaner. I'm sure this is a generic citrus aerosol cleaner with a label on.
Citrus aerosol
I've never heard of these. Hey, you've only been going up again, like, we've got that back, haven't we? But I'd never come across this type of product before. I'm sure I
think it used to be branded as screen opener. The sort of solvents, the sort of solvents and stuff that we get inside aerosols like that are usually, I'm not saying this one is because I've never seen this one, it's usually a screen opener. And I've got companies that use screen opener as a normal, everyday thinners, cleaner, press wash. And it works really well. I just think it's a bit expensive when you put it over 5 or 6 presses and you give everybody a can. And instead of having a rag dipped in a fluid which could spread, spill, evaporate, the aerosol version is actually quite nice. I mean, I would just put it in a squirty bottle, but I like the aerosol version. Aerosol screen opener when you clean your squeegees, squeegees in front of you. Done, finished.
It's interesting. It's interesting because this had been on my list to come up at some point for many episodes. And it is screen openers. So I ordered some adhesive from a particular supplier, and they accidentally sent me a case of 12 screen opener aerosol cans, and I love that stuff. Like I that's part of my routine now. So when I finished a job, the screen is cleaned on press. No ink goes down these stairs. So the screens get to the washroom spotless. And when I say spotless, I do mean the mesh is fully clear. There's no hint of staining. There's no discoloration in it's perfectly clean. And I can do that with screen openers. It's not super eco-friendly, but
high solvent, aren't they normally?
Yeah.
Proper disclaimer, but I think screen openers started life in the flat stock paper and board vinyl ink, where you just needed that boost. Sure, you'd clean it with thinners, top and bottom, but you just need that boost around the edges where it's dried in and started to solidify. So the vinyl ink solidifies, and so a blast of a screen opener in the right place and a quick dry, and it's sorted. It's what we used to call like a fast thinner, so it evaporates really, really quickly.
Yeah, well, this is it. It leaves no residue. So this is one of the things with this for cleaning your press. Now then, I think it was Hewitt who recommended something like Blue Mountain degreaser or Blue Bear or something like that.
Blue Bear.
I've got a tub over here. That's right.
Blue Bear.
I've got a tub under here, and it is like a greasy liquid, and you get it on a rag and you wash your press down, and it works. But I'm not saying it's bad at all, but this is way better. A few sprays and a melanine magic sponge, it comes off instantly. There's no scrubbing it in. There's no.
So what are you cleaning?
And then you have to dry it off.
Are you cleaning spray tack? Are you cleaning dust, fluff? Because you're quite fastidiously clean anyway.
Yeah, just build up a spray tack, I guess, mainly, and grease and dust and crap. Those areas that are, a little bit awkward to get to. My press is typically quite clean anyway, but there are a few areas which I've just neglected, and it came up like new.
So is that it now? Are we now sponsored by Screen Print World?
Yeah, so you can get yours using code Chippy Tea. No,
Chippy Tea 5, get 5% off.
And even 5% comes to us.
I know, yeah. When Dave starts getting web orders and he sees this Chippy Tea 5, what the fuck's this?
What a chuff's a Chippy Tea.
Yeah, put the code in. You won't get any discount whatsoever, but you will piss Dave Roper off. So just use the code Chippy Tea 5. We don't want monetary payback. We want real life payback where Dave sits on his computer later night and goes, the fuck's this code?
Donnie, what are you doing to us? I don't know where this has come from. Remember double PMI tape?
Yeah.
You've been using it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just done more. So, you asked me a couple of episodes about this, and I sort of writ it off instantly without giving it any thought. I just went into, it's not for me. But after the episode, a couple of days later, as you do, I started thinking about it and I thought, I used that for like 6 months, and I actually really liked it. I had no problem with it whatsoever. It was very handy. And I just sort of thought about it, I guess, and realised. So yeah, I've ordered some. And I would use it. I'm going to use it for like sleeve pallets, little chest badges. Because you could just rip off your tape, put a little strip on your chest badges, print them. You know, saves so much messing about, don't it?
Yeah.
Using it for a whole print, I probably won't bother. I'll probably use traditional water-based.
So I'm using
really
it for
handy to have kicking about.
I'm using it because it doesn't cost me anything and I'm not buying it.
Yeah, it's not your stuff, I guess.
Tops, I'll be printing 100 shirts before it comes off.
That's ideal, isn't it?
I did print directly onto it last week.
Oh, that's a reminder actually, because that's not coming off.
The emulsion off.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't rip the mesh off.
No, I just pulled the emulsion off. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. I was actually showing someone the benefits of the press. So there's a lady over here who will be on Shirt Show next week, actually. Nikki, yeah. And so I spent the week with Nikki last week showing her the benefits of the MHM press. And she was so keen to print. I'm like, yeah, this does this. Yeah, like, can I print something? Well, yeah, this does this. No, I really want to print something.
Tutorial.
I'm like, no, let me show you how this works. No, I know how it works. Just let me print something. I want to print something. All right, okay, let's print something. And that's the sign of someone, who truly understands print. In that, yeah, all right, I can listen to you talk about it forever, but let me print something. Let me put a shirt on, press the buttons. And so I'm showing her which
buttons. Going back to authentic salesman stuff here, aren't we, slightly?
Yeah, I'm sort of...
Just sure.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. You want to buy something from someone who has been stood knee-deep in spray tack with green plastisol under the fingernails, looking at the door, waiting for the fucking UPS guy to turn up, knowing that you've still got 150 more to do. And then you start to hear a screen ripping and you think, no. Or you do what I did when I'm showing someone how to print and leave a head selected when you say, okay, look at that head that I'm going to make it print. And as I go forwards, looking down and back and fuck, what was that noise? And you look and you just know you've just picked the palette. She even made me sign it.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing over there, isn't it? That's like this little trend that people are doing.
No, I don't do it normally, but I had to do it because it was payback. But I had to do it.
I think that's a bit of a... I think that's a King Tilly special. I think they started that trend.
It was, yeah. I think it goes back to Zach Acorn before him, but yeah.
You might be right. One of the two.
The pair of them, yeah, they do sign stuff. And I thought, I'm never going to do that. And if I do it, I'm not going to post it. Well,
you bloody hipster. That's what you are.
Will I get me?
You have to go along with trends, don't you?
My 5-panel cap, my bill peak, my tattoos and my ice bath. Check me out. Yeah, and my sunglasses.
Gigs on. We'll be doing backflips and squeegees next. Check me out.
All right, Lee, calm down.
Hey, somebody messaged. I won't name him, just so I don't drop him in it. And they said, here, Tony. Lee Stewart, squeegee, or push printing, which is worse. That's what they said. I didn't say that. Don't shoot the messenger.
Push printing with a Lee Stewart squeegee.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that is by far.
That's
worse.
An instant ban from the Printers Club.
I'm gonna go push printing because at least with that you are at least pulling. You know, so I don't think I've ever seen anybody push with one of them.
I have, yeah.
Can't imagine
Yeah,
that.
I see it quite often.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez. You guys need to learn how to print.
Just throw that out there casually, yeah.
They're probably teaching others how to do it, to be fair, so...
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, after you do your 3 to 3.5 months in this trade, you can be a guru, can't you? So,
Don't start us off.
no. Move on.
We're back.
Next.
Oh, gosh. It's been a very disjointed episode, hasn't it? I'm baffled, but I don't know what we've talked about. I don't know where we're going.
Look, what's the
I'm
whole
a bit
point of
baffled by
Chippy
this
Tea?
episode.
Chippy Tea is me and you having a catch-up, okay? The fact that other people listen is just a bonus. We have a catch-up about what we've been doing, what's pissed us off this week, what's impressed us, you know, and we look back and Coral Draws pissed me off this week and Spot On Citrus Cleaner has cheered you up this week. And that's what we're all about.
You know.
Yeah.
I like this stuff. You know embroidery, Tony?
Yes.
Are you aware of it?
I've seen it, yeah.
Can you touch on it? I don't know what specifically, but somebody said, somebody left a comment saying, "Oh, can you touch on embroidery next week?" It's alright, isn't it, embroidery? Got a place. Good for workwear.
I've been around
Looks good on
embroidery.
caps.
I've been around embroidery for a long time.
Have you ever been involved? So, for shops that you've worked in over the many years, have you ever had like an embroidery department that you've been in charge of? Have you ever done it?
Several.
No.
The last one had 11 machines and 8 heads each. So,
Whoa.
yeah. From a technical point of view, with the stitches and the tensions, I'm semi-okay. I can usually tell if something's good or bad, and then as we get further into the software's a little bit more difficult. But I'm aware of it, and I lived in the environment for a long time. The efficiencies of it, I quite like the efficiencies of it because it's much more predictable than screen print. So, for instance, I was at a place 2 weeks ago or a week ago, it's been a while, and he asked me the very same sort of thing, you know, what should I be getting at my embroidery machine? And for a long time in the early 2000s, we did lots of studies on, okay, where's the sweet spot for embroidery? How do we sell this fucking product? It's got number of stitches, it's got complexity of framing, it's got all these things, and then I times it by the 85-year-old barrel. You know, 85-year-old barrel's the only one that knows how to use the fucking machine. How do I price this? And we came to I won't say it's a magic number, but it's a good scenario. We tried a 6-head machine, and the 6-head machine was 4 runs of 6. That's my 24 pieces. So I can sell in 24 pieces, 4 runs. Yeah. These 4 runs, each run took me approximately 8 to 9 minutes. And this was if I could limit the stitch count to 7,500 stitches. So we're coming up with this, we're building this picture of the perfect logo. And what we ended up with, look, okay, I can sell this logo for X amount of pounds. I won't say what it is because the prices then were different to the prices now. Let's go with 5 peanuts. So I'll sell this for 5 peanuts. And it's going to be 7,500 stitches. That's my sweet spot. Sorry. Have you noticed the old man cough's gone?
Oh, yeah, thank fuck for that.
It's going.
Word for you, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, you got some.
So, 7,500 stitches. The machine runs at 1,000 stitches an hour, 1,000 stitches a minute.
I guess that's your time. The amount of stitches is your time, therefore.
Well, yeah, but
that's how we charge.
We don't want to run the machine at 100% speed all the time, so we'll dial it down to about 800 to get the longevity out of the machine. Then we've got trims and colour changes. A trim and a colour change will take time. Yeah. We've got direction changes, the way that we punch it. So we've got all this trying to be as efficient as possible in the way that we punch it, the amount of changes and colour changes and function changes in there as well. Try and keep these to a minimum. So we find this sweet spot of around about a 15-minute run, and therefore 6 pieces comes off. So that's 24 pieces an hour. It's dead straightforward. Now I've got an hourly rate. I've got one operator. I can produce 24 pieces an hour. I'm sorted. And then we looked at, well, hang on. We're basing that on one girl. So if you're up north, the embroidery operators are all girls. As you go south, the embroidery operators are all boys.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. So your embroidery operator will frame up. So let's stick the hoops on, put them into the machine, press the button to go, and then turn the back to the machine. And then in that time, they're framing up the next ones. So they've got the time it takes to embroider these that you've just framed up. And if they finish framing, so they finish framing their embroidery, they turn round and the machine's still running, that's inefficient.
Yeah.
So if it's a long stitch count, let's say it's 30,000 on a school badge, then they are just sat watching the machine stitch for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They've got nothing to do, they're just like that.
And you do sort of have to babysit them, don't you? Because you get thread breaks.
If a thread breaks, it beeps at you, you straight in and you move it. But really, you just sat watching it. So longer stitch counts are inefficient. So everybody's like, well, if I make it go faster, I'll sell a 2,000 stitch count. Well, now it's inefficient because you frame all your garments up, put them into the machine, press go. You've now got 2 minutes to turn around and frame up all your other garments. You framed up 3, machine stopped. You can't do both, so you're like, well, okay, well, I've got to do this now. The machine stops, so it's inefficient because you've got no drive. So it's trying to find that magic number. And we found that an 8-head embroidery machine, selling in 24s, was 3 runs of 7,500 stitches. That was the magic combination where the efficiencies were beautiful.
Perfect. Right.
Now, it's like number of colours. You can't always dictate it. Number of pieces, you can't dictate it. What ink, where you put in a print, you can't. The customer comes and tells you.
No.
But if we can try and steer the customer into around about a 7,500 left chest logo, then I can accurately predict how long it's going to take me. And remember the golden rule: we don't sell embroidery, we don't sell transfer, we don't sell print, we sell time. Yeah. So we're selling time on that embroidery machine. So if that time is, I can stitch 7,500 stitches in a complicated design with trims and with cuts, and the time it takes to do that is the same amount of time it takes to frame up the next ones, then I am at the most efficient I could possibly be. And even better, as I take the 8 off that I've just embroidered and then trim the embroidery backing off and fold and bag them before the machine stops doing the next 8.
The next batch.
I've just cut out a complete...
Nailed it.
Now I've got one girl and she's one boy, and they are doing everything very efficiently. And the most efficient ever that we can get to, which is why I like embroidery, because it's so sweet when it happens, is the operator. I'm going to call them embroidery girls. Come at me if you want. I don't care. If the embroidery girl, if you're offended by that, do one. When the embroidery girl has folded the 8th shirt, put it into the bag, ripped the strip off, stuck it down, and turned round with 8 ready to frame, already framed up, and the machine goes beep beep and stops, and they go off, 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 on. That's 20 seconds. I lost you.
I'm here. I think it's just a little bit. You're all right. you hear me now?
Then they press start, and all of a sudden we're back running again. They turn the back to the machine, and
Yeah.
we start to rip off, fold, bag, seal, and by the time we've sealed the last one, we framed up the next 8, beep beep, the machine stops again. That to me is a perfect example of efficiency. So I do like embroidery for that reason. And it's one operator.
I used to have a lad in back. I don't know if you remember. I used to have a lad in back.
I thought that was a rumour. That was never proven, was it?
Going back to the gimp conversation now. Used to have a gimp in back. Anyway, no.
This is difficult because your screen's gone blank. I've got no idea what you're doing.
Hopefully you can hear me okay.
I can
I used to
hear
have a
you,
lad
yeah.
in back who were running an embroidery machine in the back room.
Oh, you're back.
And he was so inefficient. And he were doing, I don't know why, he would end up getting roped into these jobs with like massive back pieces.
Yeah.
Like 28 million billion stitches on a small little, I can't remember what brand it was. I think it was like a Happy Mondays or something. I don't know. Happy something.
From Midwest, yeah.
Something like that. And it was only like 6 colours, 1 head, and he were doing these massive back pieces on 50 garments. And he were doing like 3 a day or something daft. And it was charged at the same price, like no matter what it was. Anyway, it didn't last. He buggered off in the end.
Can't understand it.
Yeah, incredibly inefficient. But do you feel like there is a massive gulf of quality? Like, I don't know if it's equal to what you see in printing, but you see an awful lot of embroidery of a low quality, and then you see a small percentage of like decent top quality people who have really fine-tuned it and worked out the best way to do it.
Yeah,
But I feel like there's a huge. I feel like it's almost like there's the cry cut behind it. You get people who buy a small embroidery machine. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, and the quality's not there.
I think you're right. In our industry, there's so many variables. Again, you mentioned the cricket thing. It's that mentality of I can start with very little investment and teach myself badly. The last place I worked, embroidery was absolutely out of this world. The quality was top notch, the best I've seen, and it wasn't any slower than the quality I'd seen at my previous job, where the quality wasn't that important. And it's to do with several factors, and it starts right at the beginning. So the last place I worked, the owner could punch embroidery designs, and that was the key. He could punch an embroidery design. The way it's punched, the way it's digitized, affects how it runs. And then when you get on press, when you get to machinery point of embroidery, the tensions then start to come in. The way it's framed and the tension of the thread. All these come in, maintenance of the machine. All these things come into play. The position of the needles, the sharpness of the needles, the correct grade of needles. All these things come into play, and there isn't a one fix for all.
No.
Very often now we see the punching service like the graphic service. Do you sit and draw your own, or do you send it to the guy in India that sat there and will do an hour's worth of work for $3? Or do you sit and do it yourself and know that it's correct? Which way do you go with it? And there are so many bureaus now, as we know. Every time you open your emails and every time you open your DMs and you think you've got new friends and you realise it's hi, my name is Anna. Your name is Zulin. You texted me last week, and that pretty picture's not fooling me. You're a digitizer. Stop it. So
that you get. I guess you've got to find that needle in a haystack, haven't you? You've got to find a proper digitizer who really is, knows what he's doing.
Yeah, there's a reason they advertise so much. Is because there is so much work available for them, and it makes money. Otherwise, they wouldn't randomly shotgun up every mailbox in the Western Hemisphere. They do it because it works. People do pick up the phone and go, "Okay, I'll try it." and the prices are a shit low. But
Yeah.
someone 4,500
Yeah,
miles away has no idea how the job's running. And the one thing I will say about the last place I worked, they sample everything. Put on a single head and see how it runs. Put on a single head, see how it runs, and then come back and make small changes, tiny little changes.
Tweak it.
But those changes are the ones that there are a difference between an embroidery that sucks up all the shirt like that, and one that sits nice and flows and it's got crisp, clean edges.
Yeah, I feel like there's a big learning curve with embroidery. There's a lot to it. There's your backing sheets and your clamping and all that stuff. Obviously,
I can't punch.
Not really our expertise. No.
But what I did find is I've taught many people how to use vector graphics and how to use embroidery programs. Is if I take someone that can punch, it's still called punching, is it? Digitize. If I can take someone that can digitize, I can teach them to use Illustrator or Corel really easily. But I can't go the other way.
Similar.
I can't go the other way. I can't teach someone who's only done Illustrator. It's right, okay, now the fills that you're going to use are completely different. There are directional fills. Now to draw a circle, drawing a curve across in an embroidery program is so much easier than the way we draw curves. It's just, everything's filled in for you. It's just easier. You just got to think in like train tracks.
Right.
And you go from left to right, from left to right, from left to right, enter, done. And you're like, oh, that was fucking easy. I'd have had to draw a box and then move this corner and then that corner and then try and get that corner, bring a guide over, do all that. It can be easier.
Well, you learn something every day, don't you, Tony, lad? We've had a little...
I know a little bit of shit about everything, don't I? Somebody asked me if I were a twin. I said, no, why? It's 'cause you fucking know too much for one guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Right, what are we on here? 1 hour 40. That's a chunky episode.
It's time for me to meet Big Dave downstairs and go in his new truck.
Oh, Big Dave.
We'll go in his big truck and we'll go to see the guy with the...
Road trip?
It's always a road trip with Dave. He lives in that fucking truck. Although it is a new one. He's only had it 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks he's put 8,000 miles on it. The one trip that Dave did...
Week.
Oh, I just lost you then. You still there?
It's gone real rubbish.
Lost you. I don't know what's happening
What have
there,
you done
buddy.
this time?
Oh, there we go. Got you back. You're okay.
Bloody hell.
I thought you were doing my trick where you go.
Oh, there we go. Mime him.
Yes. No,
I'm not that cruel.
it was the 4th of July, so like a holiday over here, and Dave's asked to do a job. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. Total round trip for 5,000 miles.
5,000 miles?
5,000 miles. Go down here, disassemble a press, put it on the back of a truck, send it to here, go up here, drop off that, pick that up, go to there, come back, sort this guy out and come back. 5,000 miles. Jesus. That's a hell of a road
he likes
trip.
driving.
He does. He likes driving.
It's not for me driving. I'm not into it.
It's a necessary evil.
I do it, it's just a job, isn't it? It is.
Yeah. It gets you from A to B.
Some people take pleasure from driving, don't they? I'm like, no. Just
I
gets
think
me from
over
A
here
to B.
it's a bit different. Everything's like that over here. It's a straight line up and a straight line left, and you always know where you're going. Come to England and it's like just this organic mess that somebody's picked loads of pencils up and thrown them on the floor and go, right, that's the map.
We get real narrow roads as well, country roads, where you like the two oncoming cars and they send each other in bushes.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a doing it.
It's a bit of a do.
I'll get set off to work. What time will you be on, roughly?
7:30.
Oh, you've got time to get some breakfast. You'd be starting about 9ish, won't you?
No, Dave's picking me up at 8. That's why we've got to brush this up. I know, yeah.
Half an hour, it's right.
Got to rush off and try and get some shit done. We've got an hour and a bit drive to that place with that artwork. And that artwork looks a little bit. Don't know how I'm going to do this one.
And I am going to go print a single colour front and a 4-colour back on about 30 shirts
Okay.
and get them out at door to the post office before 5 o'clock.
And then go to a pub.
I'll be going to bed. I went to watch a gig last night, so I'm a bit tired.
Did you go see it? I did see it, but I didn't have any volume on, so I couldn't see what it was.
DMAs. You won't have heard of them.
No,
Band called DMAs.
Because I'm old.
Because you're old. Yeah. Yeah. Quick anecdote. It'll only take me 2
Fucking
minutes.
hell, you got me back there for you in New York, didn't you, you bastard?
I hold grudges, Tony. I hold grudges.
I know, yeah. I can see it in your eyes.
Took quite a bit of pleasure from that. So DMAs.
It says a lot about you, not about me.
It does, yeah. Says a lot about my character. DMAs came to me it was actually DMA's manager. Came to me 6 years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And I was printing their shirts. It's a band from Australia, and they're really heavily influenced by British music. So I don't know, Oasis, Verve, Stone Roses, stuff like that. Super heavily influenced by them. And I did some shirts for them years and years and years ago before they sort of took off. And the manager was saying, these are mega these are going to take off. And I thought at the time, yeah. Anyway, I did these shirts. And it was an ongoing thing, but the orders were getting bigger and bigger, and they were going internationally. They were going to all over Europe. And it were needed within a couple of days every time. There were no, you've got 2 weeks to print these, not we need these by Wednesday. And that combined with getting them across the pond to various locations, it came too much for me. And I just said, I'm sorry, I'm not a good fit for you. I can't keep up with this. I can't do it for you. All these years later, maybe a year or two later anyway, after that, I actually really liked the band, and I'd never actually listened to them at the time, but accidentally sort of listened to them and thought, bloody hell, I love this band, they're great. Am I kicking myself or what? But they're massive now as well. They must go through so much merchandise. Total lost opportunity. But what can you do? I couldn't have done it at the time.
No.
I might slide in the DMs and see if I can pick it back up. And here's the thing as well. So I worked the show, and obviously I looked at the merchandise stand, and I've got mates who are into the band, and they've bought tops off them, and they're not too complimentary of the printing and the quality. So there is room there for somebody to do a better job.
You've got to be careful. You might be one of our mates that's printing for them.
Oh shit! Yeah, I've named a band as well, haven't I? I'm really sorry if you're listening and it's you. It could be as well. That'll be just my chuffing look.
Just my chuffing look.
I'm sure they're lovely.
So chuffing is a word I've taught the guys up in Canada.
All right.
I never realised I said it, but I've there's 2 words that they've never heard before. That's chuffing bollocks. And they're like, this is what? Chuffing bollocks. So now, every time I get a message from Canada, it's like, it's chuffing bollocks.
You don't realise, do you? Me and you have these conversations, and I'm sure there are words and phrases that come out that me and you understand because we're both West Yorkshire.
Where's it?
Well, I'm not West Yorkshire nowadays, but originally. So it's everyday stuff to us, but I'm sure everybody else listening is like, what are they saying?
Yeah, that's why we need subtitles.
Yeah. Right, go on. You've got 20 minutes.
I've got 20 minutes, me old cocker. Right, so without further ado, we'll wrap up this week's episodes. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've had a bit of a time away. We're all refreshed. We're ready to go. We're still open to suggestions. If you want to discuss a certain topic, let us know. Drop it in, like the embroidery one. I'm sure one of us will know some bits about something. But we always welcome the comments. It does make us laugh, and we appreciate that people still do listen.
I forgot Agony Anti-Moire.
We've got another.
Right, we've got a back catalogue. No, we'll do it next week because this deserves attention and time. I don't want to rush through Antimaria.
Yeah, because I got a message from someone.
Have you?
Yeah, who said it wasn't them.
Oh, but I know I can categorically write one person off. But then also they qualified that with, or am I? So I'm still no better off, to be honest.
Oh, who the fuck was it? I'm sure it was Flex.
Oh, so that writes Flex out, and then we can also write Sarah off.
No, it
not
wasn't
Sarah.
Flex. I'm still going with the little Welsh guy.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily think it's an Irishman
I
or
think it's
Irish
the Welsh
woman.
guy, but somebody said to me, whoever it is would never use the word love.
Right.
Whoever it is definitely not Irish because there's nobody over here would ever use the word love. As in
Well, I thought we got a
L-U-V.
feminist on our hands or something.
L-U-V.
What do you call me? It's a term of endearment.
No, it was just one of those. No, we don't use that word. We would never phrase. Oh, there we go. Porridge.
Right, so we can categorically rule out Flex, Porridge, and Sarah.
But
Well.
although Porridge is mentioning Antimaria far too much.
Dismissed. I feel like, to be honest, I
And
feel like if we
it's
solve the
available for
mystery,
podcasts. So I think we should get him
we'll
on.
get him on.
And we'll do a big reveal. Antimaria is 100% not Irish. No one here uses the term love.
The plot thickens.
So
It will be, by the way. It's me.
We'll get him over.
Just to throw it up, just to throw a big bomb at world. It's me. That's
Hence the word love.
Yeah. That's what I thought when you said it. Right, I'm off. See you later, everybody. All the best. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, send money, buy some pin badges. I don't know what else to say.
Merchandise
Hey, we've
is
got
now available.
Well, it'll be soon available. I've got an idea for these. These will become available, and let's just say there will be a package of some variety. Tony's done his freezing.
Leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right with that.
Say bye.
Right. Bye. I'll see thee.
Oh, is that it? I'll say there. Oh, God.
Oh, you can give me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.